My girlfriend didn't hesitate when she said it. My parents think you're a downgrade from my ex. I don't want to make them uncomfortable. That was her explanation for why I wasn't invited to her sister's wedding. I didn't argue. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask follow-up questions. I just nodded and said, I see. And in that moment, she thought she'd won. What she didn't realize was that when someone finally understands exactly where they stand, they don't fight. They detach. I let her finish packing for the wedding. I helped zip her dress back. I wished her a good time. I kissed her cheek goodbye. Then, once the door closed behind her, I packed my life into suitcases and disappeared. But before I tell you what happened next, you need to understand something. You never realize you're just a placeholder until the person you're holding the spot for decides to show up. For 2 years, I thought I was the hero of Sarah's story, the guy who arrived after the wreckage, the one who rebuilt what someone else destroyed. But looking back, I wasn't the hero. I was the contractor. And once the renovations were finished, she didn't need the man with the tool belt anymore. She wanted the guy who threw the parties. I met Sarah when her life was falling apart. She was 26, buried in credit card debt, emotionally hollowed out by a 3-year on-and-off relationship with a man named Todd. She called him a visionary. Everyone else called him unreliable. Todd borrowed money he never repaid. He cheated openly. He disappeared for days at a time and reappeared with excuses that somehow always became her fault. When he finally left her for someone younger and shinier, Sarah collapsed. That's when I entered the picture. I'm Mark, a systems analyst. Predictable, stable, boring if you ask the wrong people. I paid my bills on time. I didn't vanish. I didn't create emergencies just to feel important. And to Sarah, at that moment in her life, I felt like oxygen. She told me I was peace. She said she was done with chaos, done with drama, done with men like Todd. And I believed her. I helped her get control of her finances. I co-signed on her car so she wouldn't drown in interest. When she decided to finish her degree, I covered the rent so she could focus. I didn't just date her. I stabilized her. And here's the part no one warns you about. If someone is addicted to chaos, peace doesn't feel safe. It feels boring. The shift didn't happen overnight. It crept in quietly, disguised as growth. Sarah graduated, she got a job, she started dressing better, going to the gym, glowing with confidence. I was proud of her. I thought we were building something real. But then the comments started. Little ones at first. We never do anything spontaneous. I'd remind her of the trips we took. She'd shrug and say planning didn't count. Then it got sharper. You just stare at screens all day. I'd explain my work mattered, that it kept real systems running. She'd roll her eyes and say it felt sterile. That word stuck. Sterile. Like stability was a flaw. Everything came to a head the week of her sister's wedding. This wedding mattered. Wealthy family, old money, appearances were everything. I assumed I was part of the image she wanted to present, the proof she'd moved on from disasters like Todd. I bought a tailored suit, got a fresh haircut, made sure everything about me said reliable. When she showed her the suit, she didn't smile. She looked uncomfortable. It's fine, she said. It's just very you. Safe, predictable, forgettable. Then came the silence. The heavy kind that warns you something ugly is coming. That's when she told me. Her parents missed Todd's energy. They thought I was a downgrade. They thought I was boring. And for my sake, for everyone's comfort, it would be better if I didn't attend the wedding. She framed it like kindness, like protection. But I saw it for what it was. Shame. She wasn't protecting me from judgment. She was hiding me. So I did the only thing that made sense. I said, okay. And in that moment, she relaxed. She kissed my cheek and thanked me for being logical. That night, while she packed for the wedding, I realized something. I wasn't her partner. I was her backup plan.
And backup plans don't attend family milestones. They wait quietly in the background. But I wasn't going to wait, because placeholders don't get endings. They get replaced.
She left the apartment early the next morning. Dress bag over her shoulder, phone already in her hand, mind somewhere else. "I'll see you Sunday," she said, rushing toward the door. "Love you." I watched her go without correcting anything she'd just said. Because love doesn't exclude you from weddings. Love doesn't hide you. And love doesn't call you a downgrade and expect you to stay grateful. The door closed. The lock clicked. That sound wasn't loneliness. It was clarity. I stood in the living room for a long moment, letting the silence settle. 2 years of my life were arranged neatly around me. Furniture I paid for, electronics I bought, utilities in my name, the infrastructure of someone else's comfort. And that's when I understood my role completely. I wasn't her boyfriend. I was the system that made her life run smoothly. So I did what any systems analyst does when a structure is no longer sustainable. I shut it down. I didn't rage. I didn't throw things. Chaos wasn't my language. Precision was. I gave myself a time limit and started with the essentials. Clothes first. Documents. The things that couldn't be replaced or rewritten later. Passport, certificates, emergency cash I'd quietly built up while fixing her messes. Then the tech. The television I bought for our anniversary, the speakers in every room, the console she used more than I did. I packed them carefully, like I was dismantling a server rather than a relationship. Last came the network, the router, the modem, the quiet heartbeat of the apartment. I unplugged it, wrapped the cords neatly, and placed it in my bag. In seconds, the place went dark in a very specific way. No smart lights, no streaming, no voice assistants filling the space with artificial company. Just walls. I left my key on the counter. No note. Notes invite negotiation. Keys end conversations. By the time her ceremony began, I was checking into a hotel downtown. I sat on the edge of the bed, ordered a drink, and let the city hum outside the window. I didn't imagine her walking down the aisle. I imagined the moment her parents realized I wasn't there. And I didn't have to wait long. My phone buzzed in the evening. Her father's name lit up the screen. I answered calmly. "Mark, are you okay? Sarah said you collapsed." Collapsed. That's when I knew she hadn't just excluded me, she'd erased me. I told him the truth, not with anger, not with theatrics, just facts. I wasn't sick, I wasn't invited, I was told I was a downgrade. The silence on the other end was heavy. Then came disbelief, then fury. He told me Todd was there, sitting in my seat, eating the dinner I was supposed to eat. The irony almost made me laugh. I told him I'd moved out. I told him I was done. He begged, he apologized, he tried to fix something that wasn't his to repair. But the damage wasn't emotional, it was structural. When I hung up, I didn't feel victorious. I felt finished. The next day was quiet, the good kind. I slept, I went for a long run, I ate alone and enjoyed it. For the first time in years, I wasn't managing someone else's emotions. Monday morning, I turned my phone back on. It exploded. Missed calls, texts, voicemails stacking on top of each other like a panic attack in digital form. Anger first, accusations, then fear, then pleading. By evening, she found me, waiting by my car like nothing had changed. She accused me of blocking her before saying hello. She called my leaving insane. She said, "You don't end 2 years over a misunderstanding." I asked her which part was misunderstood. The downgrade, the lie, the replacement. She cried. She blamed stress. She blamed Todd. She said she just needed closure. And that's when I saw it clearly. She didn't miss me. She missed the silence being filled, the bills being handled, the stability being automatic. She missed the system, not the man. When she reached for my hand, I stepped back.
When she asked me to come home, I unlocked my car, and when she told me she needed me, I told her the truth she wasn't ready to hear. I was boring, and boring meant honest, reliable, faithful. Boring meant no scenes at weddings, no lies to parents, no chaos disguised as passion. And she didn't want boring. She wanted the thrill. She wanted the highs without the cost. But systems don't work that way. I told her I'd arranged movers, that the utilities were transferring, that the support structures were coming down whether she liked it or not. She panicked. She shouted she couldn't afford the place alone, that I'd promised to take care of her. And I did. I just finished the job. I drove away while she stood there shouting, shrinking in the mirror. I didn't look back twice. Because when you finally remove yourself from being someone's placeholder, you don't wait to see who fills the space. You move forward. And for the first time in 2 years, the road ahead was quiet. Not boring. Free.